Folks, welcome to an all-new episode of So Bad It's Good. This is a Southern Charm recap. Bapa do bapa dee dee dee. Bapa do bapa dee. I will say I think that's like my second favorite theme song. Of course, my first being the Vanderpump Rules theme song, Raise Your Glass. Raise a glass, raise some glass, whatever the song is. Also, Scheana was on The Masked Singer last night. She was a bat. I know I mentioned it on yesterday's episode, but I texted Scheana congratulations. And did you know because I said, oh, Lady Gaga would be proud because Lady Gaga did a lie detector test, I think, for Vanity Fair last week and said she was really going to miss seeing Scheana on Vanderpump Rules the most, which you knew, like that. Scheana needed that. That's that. I mean, from Lady Gaga, are you kidding me? I think Sheena's going to Saturday Night Live to see Lady Gaga on Saturday. She's doing double duty. She's doing the musical guest and the host. And I think Sheena's going to be there. Dude, we are potentially going to see a Scheana Shay Lady Gaga Instagram photo at some point on Saturday or Sunday. Gird your loins, folks. Prepare yourselves. How are you? It's Friday. I want to remind you of that. So I know, listen, 2025, am I right? But we are here to try to add some levity, try to bring some lights, try to talk about these goofy people from Charleston that have gone over to the Bahamas and made it horrible for all the Bahamanian people out there. Shep not seeming to get any sort of context clues that Scheana does not like this man at all. I mean, like, it is what, I mean, Shep is so committed to the bit of not understanding this girl does not like him, where I'm getting nervous, where I'm like, oh God, is this the, is he having sundowners? Like, what is happening where Shep doesn't seem to really, truly get it? And I think if Shep actually I think it's almost this thing, like if he does have to come to grips with her not liking him, it almost, in a way, is him having to acknowledge that he's getting older. Do I have any play with that? Does that make sense at all? It boggles the mind. Like, I don't know how many other ways she can tell this man. I would imagine maybe like hiring a plane for like some sort of skywriting, like, I don't like you, Shep. And Shep would just be like, oh, you did that for me? Oh, goodness. I know that deep down you're really feeling this. You're feeling this. I can tell. And it's coming out in ways where you're saying you don't like me, but deep down you deeply love me. And he is just not getting it. This episode, I don't know. Southern Charm for me has picked up the last couple of episodes. That's why I'm like, sorry, that's my Apple Watch. Yeah, I have an Apple Watch. But it's really picked up for me where I've had to recap each episode because I've gotten so uncomfortable watching certain scenes that I just need to talk about it. It's either you or my therapist. We also did a full Summer House recap. That is out as a separate episode as well. I thought that was a really fun episode, a fun recap. We did a Beverly Hills recap earlier this week. We did an Abby Lee Miller from Dance Moms interview. Plus we had a whole recap of Jax Taylor's appearance on the Hot Mic podcast, where he let us in on a badly kept secret about his substance abuse issues. We had Sophie Ross on Monday's episode. I think I'm forgetting some episode in there somewhere. We're doing Traders on Sunday. And I'm finishing up finally the Patreon, where we're going to talk about all the shows that we don't talk about on here, like White Lotus. I started watching Paradise last night on Hulu, and I love it. Severance, new episode comes out tonight as well. It's only a 37-minute episode, folks, so don't tell me you don't have time to watch that. And then, so Traders, by the way, season finale tonight. I got to watch it earlier today. I've not watched the reunion yet, so I'm excited to see that. I'm not going to spoil it for you guys right here because I do not need any sort of death threats at all thrown at me. So we'll talk about that on Saturday with Bergie. And how are you guys? Are you good? Are you hanging in? Are you with me? Okay, yeah. Baba do baba dee dee dee. If you like this show, consider giving it 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Join in on the conversation on Spotify. I think you can leave comments. Join our Patreon. What up, baddies? It's been a busy week. There are so many things going on that I can't wait to tell you about. Isn't that always like the biggest jerk off when some podcaster's like, a lot of big things. I got a lot of big things to tell you about, but I think I do. So eventually we're going to have a conversation, you guys. Are you even watching Southern? By the way, guys, are you even watching Southern Charm? If not, it doesn't matter. I'm going to walk you through this. But basically, last week's episode, they're in the Bahamas, and this episode is called C's Just Not That Into You. Like Scheana, like C, like SEA. They're like this C. I don't know. I like instead of she's just not that into you, C's just not that into you. I thought it was a very clever title. We get the previously on Southern Charm. And remember, JT came down to the Bahamas just for like a hot minute and got into a fight with Craig, made up with Madison. Remember, he's like, Craig, you're lying, dude. And like all hell was breaking loose. And, and JT tells Craig, what you said flamed us. And Craig's like, what you said flamed us. And I like how Craig points in that scene. What you said flamed us. Vanita lured JT into her hotel room. And he's like, no. Vanita went to JT's hotel room. JT opened the door, saw the camera was there. He's like, no camera. And we heard this story where she tried to straddle him twice. And he's like, I'm a hot-blooded American man. Of course I want this, but I got a girlfriend. I got me a girl. Now, since that has happened, Vanita, and I think we talked about this on Monday's episode, said this is not the correct timeline of events. At this point, I did not know he had a girlfriend. Now, JT's girlfriend entered the chat and said, this is not true. I don't know who to believe, but I am going to believe Vanita. So there we go. That problem solved. We'll probably talk more about this on Monday. And also, Leva opened up a new spot in Charleston called Zachary's Daiquiris. And I guess some drama happened with, they have like a dress code. Somebody, I don't know. We'll get into that on Monday. I don't want to ruin a good Southern Charm recap with that. But also Leva said in it because she owns, like, I would imagine probably 50% of the restaurants and bars in Charleston at this point. But her, Southern Hospitality, which also the finale and the reunion of Southern Hospitality is on tonight as well. So much television. But she is barely on Southern Hospitality and she's barely on Southern Charm. So it's like, probably best case scenario for her in a way because she gets to promote her businesses and she also doesn't have to wreck her personal life. She's just, that's what a lot of these people do. They get on the show to promote their product. Anyways, Madison does the voiceover for these beginnings, previously. She's like, JT hightailed it back to Charleston. Meanwhile, Scheana was still ghosting Shep. And remember, Shep went hog wild, got too drunk, and ended up falling asleep on a beach chair on the beach. And he came back in the next day, woke up Craig, and Craig's like, whatever this isn't healthy. And then Scheana was going to go on the fishing boat with them and said, you know what, I'm not going to go. And so we see old man sad walk of shame without the sex. He's just like, some sad Shep, baba doo, baba dee dee dee, sad baba doo, baba dee dee dee. And at the end of the episode last week, Madison kind of talked him down, and Shep was hating himself. He's like, maybe I don't even deserve love. I'm a fucking wild son of a bitch. How am I a good idea for anybody? And Madison's like, you deserve love. We all deserve love. And then I like how they always put a different line of the theme song at the end of the beginning part. They're like, she's a hurricane, it's not so easy. She's a hurricane, it's not so easy. Bop-a-doo. We open up on a new day, the continuation of last week where the boat pulled up and everybody's getting ready for dinner. And they're back in the hotel room in the men's quarters. And Shep wanders into Craig's room and he's like, oh, hey, Craig, what are you doing? And Craig just gets out of the shower. He's getting out of the shower. So we see Craig blouseless. Nice. And Shep's like, you're going to think I'm an idiot, Craig. That it could have just been a period on the sentence right there. But he goes, "Can I ask you a question? I got this necklace for Scheana. Do I look like a total tool if I give it to her? It's a megalodon tooth, prehistoric." Once you said megalodon, I was like, yeah, no, no, you do look like a tool. No, he's Shep loves fucking dinosaur teeth. Like he's like really into shark teeth and dinosaur bones. Woo! But Craig's like, why? When are you gonna see her? And Shep's like, she's coming to dinner. She wants to see me, dude. And Craig's like, the necklace isn't the weird thing. The dinner is. If she's coming to dinner, give her the necklace. The weird thing is the dinner, dude. And Shep's like, she's coming to dinner. Shep's like, I'm standing by my guns. I will be made a fool of in front of my friends. That's off the table. We're not arguing about that. Craig goes, why, dude? You slept on a beach chair because of her. I mean, if we're going to be real, that's what you did. In a talking head, Craig goes, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to see that she doesn't like him. Shep in the scene goes, I know she's a good person. And at this moment, for some reason, we realize Austin is in the bathroom too. Like, was Craig showering and Austin just taking a shit in the bathroom? Because all of a sudden, Austin just hey, what's up, guys? Like, he's in the bathroom that Craig just is walking out topless out, you know? And Craig's like, I'm not saying anything if she's a good person or not, dude. And Shep's like, we have a connection, Craig. And Craig's like, oh, sorry, folks. Just had to take a call from Mr. Doug Buden, a prince among men. We will be at ChumpCon together in April. Very excited about that. Yeah, ChumpCon, man. It's going to be crazy. Like, so many chumps are coming, and I think it's close to being sold out or something. But they're also doing these things called fan socials where you can book like a coffee with me or drinks with me or dinner with me, which I was like, nobody's going to book me. And then I got my first booking today for Vegas, and you can book me with other people. So like you can book me and Doug, or me, Doug and Jameson, or me and Crystal Minkoff. And, you know, I'm so excited. So if anybody's going and wants to talk reality TV with me, but I mean, I don't know. I'm really excited to be invited in the first place. And he's paying us to be there, and I just that's so huge. Anyways, back to this mess, you guys. Shep is trying to plead his case to Craig, and Shep's like, we have a connection, Craig. And Craig's like, no, you don't. You're broken up. And Shep's like, you don't know, Dad. And Craig's like, what good does it do you? And Shep's like, it doesn't matter. It's happening. Why did you even go into Craig's room in the first place? You knew what he was going to say. Shep in a talking head goes, when Craig gets it in his mind about one of his friends, he won't back down. I like that the subtext there is, when Craig doesn't want to watch his friends in pain, he tries to stop it. What a goof, huh? What a goof. So Shep goes, it's okay, Craig. She's coming. Shep in a talking head says, don't ask me to be rational in this moment. So then Shep tries to assuage Craig by saying, don't worry, dude. I'll act like it doesn't bother me. Like it does a little, but I can handle this, Craig. And Craig's like, how about we don't ignore the result of tonight? If I'm looking out for you at in the hotel again at 4 a.m. and then you have to listen to me and you don't talk to her ever again. I thought that was a little strange. You never talk to this girl again. And then they weirdly hug. And Craig says, if this goes awry, we never talk to her again. And now he's included himself. We. And I feel like the rest of the episode should just be them trying to spell awry. You know? Shep says, okay, guys, well, I'm going to go walk. I'm going to go walk with Scheana before dinner, but I appreciate everybody's advice. And Austin goes, Shep, I will be totally lovely to Scheana. And Shep's like, I know you will, brother. So he leaves, and Craig is standing up, and his jaw is, I mean, guys, I always say jaw on the floor, but his jaw is open. And Craig's like, will you have an opinion about something, Austin? And Austin's like, Shep doesn't even listen to what we say. Austin says, what Craig is saying is true, but it's just the way he's delivering it. Like Craig is being a dick. We cut to Whitney, one of the producers of Southern Charm, coming into the ladies' bathroom with a bottle of Vouv and champagne glasses. And he's like, knock, knock. Hey, Santa Claus is here. And he walks into the, I mean, should we just be walking into girls' bathrooms? And he has like Ray-Bans on. And he goes, tell me about the cruise. What did I miss? And Sally, the new cast member, goes, oh, Shep's being like kind of sad about Scheana, and Madison's like, he's being a simp. And, you know, they're like, he just can't wrap his head around why she doesn't like him. And Madison's like, can you imagine bringing her around all your friends and not getting laid? And Whitney's like, and then he tells Madison, why don't you do a smoky eye? And she goes, because I'll look like a whore. And Whitney's like, I think she says not that you don't look like one anyway. Maybe he says not that you don't look like one anyway. Regardless, I was uncomfortable. We cut to Craig talking to Austin. And Craig goes, if things get tense, just grab my arm. Austin goes, why are you so intense about this? And Craig goes, it's injustice. It's right and wrong. And Austin goes, that sounds like JT, dude. He is always saying he wants the truth. And we have a flashback to all these times in the season where JT's like, I want the truth. You can't handle the truth. And Craig says, that doesn't mean no one else in the world wants it, dude. JT's not the only one that wants truth. We cut to Shep now on the beach. It's like close to sunset. And we see they've set up this beautiful table and this bar on the beach for tonight's embarrassing experience. And we're going to have a conch salad, lobster, tomahawk steak. So, you know, this is amazing. This is like, what's that thing with the jousting? Medieval times. You know, and you got your like stein and you got like a big turkey leg and stuff. And you get to watch all these like knights joust on horses. And for me, this would be kind of like that because you'd get like tomahawk steak, but you'd also get to watch Shep just make a complete fool of himself for like an hour and be fed well. Are you kidding me? Shep goes, yeah, I'm hoping this dinner will be like a coronation of our relationship. And, I was hoping that. And now I feel like I might be entering enemy territory. We see that there's a fire pit set up for afterwards. And Scheana gets there and it says Scheana, Shep's girlfriend. They should have put Shep's girlfriend ? And she's like, this is amazing. It's beautiful. And he's like, have a seat. How are you? You look fantastic. Thank you. Well, I told you I got you a gift. So now I'm going to give you that gift. And she goes, I like gifts. And Shep goes, me too. That's my love language. And she's like, really? You're like, well, I've not gotten you any gift. And he hands her a bag. And he goes, it's a megalodon tooth. It's a megalodon tooth. It's shark necklace. Yeah, it's a prehistoric shark that is bigger than all the other sharks, Scheana. Which I feel like there's like some deeper meaning there. Like, are you saying that you want to be the biggest shark in Scheana's life? There's not really, he's like, yeah, it's bigger than all the other sharks. Do you like it? Yeah, I'll wear it, she says. And then he goes, it really accentuates your wonderful chest. And I'm like, no, Shep, no. Really accentuates your boobs. And she goes, you're so silly. But you can tell she's uncomfortable. And then he goes, you look beautiful as always. He's giggling. And then he goes, I love your hair. And you know it. You know I love your hair. And your little freckled lips. I love it. And then he launches into this whole thing. He goes, I want you to know you're wonderful. We undeniably have a connection, and whatever we were is really rare in this world. You know, it's like we were in a whirlwind of passion and love, and that's why I invited you to Italy to meet my brother and sister and nieces, because I want to make a fool of myself in front of my entire lineage. You know, and all right, that's why this is just nonsense. So like, it's just so sudden. It's like my head's being cut off. And she goes, and he goes, actually, you know what? I don't feel like it's my head getting cut off. I feel like it's a death from 1,000 paper cuts. And then Scheana gives us a real big context clue of what's going on here. She goes, we weren't even in a relationship. And Shep's like, so, whoa, what were the moments we had? Just like an aberration? And she goes, we had a lot of fun together, and it's, we're always having a good time. And Shep's like, that is minimizing it in my mind. You're not feeling this? Are you kidding me? We cut to Madison and Taylor on a balcony overseeing the ocean. Taylor took a nice nap, she lets us know. And Madison says, I wonder if Scheana's going to show up. Have you ever seen Shep so emotional? Now, this is his former girlfriend, Taylor. And Taylor says, well, I haven't. I think he's just getting a taste of his own medicine, and it's not a good feeling, is it? Then Leva now FaceTimes. Leva can't go, but Leva FaceTimes. They're explaining the Scheana situation to Leva. And Leva's like, yeah, I met her at the dog party. Earlier in the season, they had the dog party. And she was like, I'm here for a good time, not a long time. She's just not that into him. It's like these guys in their 40s with girls in their 20s, and they're just not into it, and it's a whole different vibe. I mean, we are just so dumb, the male species. We just don't even get it. We cut back to Shep, and he's like, Scheana, we were in love. Will you admit that? And she goes, I don't know if we were in love. Well, you felt love. Like we talked about it, not like an event that occurred. We were like ticking to the top of the roller coaster and like on the journey. And Scheana once again goes, we weren't even in a relationship. It was like at this point, I was like, does Shep need to be in the Traitors? Like, I'm getting big Dolores vibes where like Dolores couldn't find a traitor to save her life at first. And now I'm just like, holy shit, we got to get Shep on Traitors because he will not know what's happening. Like, he legitimately is like, what are you talking about? We're in love. What? You got me pregnant. Now everyone has dressed for dinner. We see Craig. Craig says, I'm in my sherbet shorts. And he has a beer in his hand. We cut back to Shep, and now it's nighttime. So I don't know how long they filmed this scene. And Shep goes, I totally disagree with that assessment, Scheana. And she's like, we didn't have a label on it. And Shep's like, I hate labels. That's how I felt. I'm pretty sure I know how you felt. And then all of a sudden, Scheana goes, I feel sick. It's a great sign when you're in the middle of a conversation about love and the other person goes, I feel gassy and nauseous. Shep goes in a talking head. He goes, I've been heartbroken 3 or 4 times. What age? It feels like not, probably when you're in teens. He goes, but this might be the first time that I tried to fight for somebody that didn't want it. I feel like Ophelia and Hamlet, unrequited love, or was that Macbeth, or was that The Firm by John Grisham? One of those. Shep tells her, I'm hurt, Scheana. I'm going to think about you. I can't help that. And it sucks, but if this is the last time that I see you, let's have a good night. Just the tip. Let me put the tip in. No, but anyways, it's so bizarre. I like that she's fully kind of said, hey, we don't have a relationship. He's like, stay for a free meal, please, with my friends. I'd like them to see you embarrass me, and, they'd like this. So they're walking down. They make a joke about Craig fire dancing. We see that he's fire danced in the past. They all of a sudden see Shep and Scheana talking on the beach, and Craig's like, why is he doing this? Jesus Christ. Shep holds Scheana's hand as they stand up, and Austin goes over and is like, hey guys, what's up? And Craig walks off going, Austin's such a pussy, dude. Because Craig won't go over and give pleasantries. He's like, F that. No way, dude. Austin's such a pussy, dude. Craig in a talking head goes, my version of friendship is honest and tough love. And Austin, he's being an enabler. Being an enabler is not a good friend. So we're doing the introductions, and Shep goes, you remember Whitney? And she's like, I do. Remember, Whitney is the person that met her on Raya. And from Scheana's point of view, Scheana said that I guess there's a feature on Raya where you can pay to message with somebody, and Whitney messaged Scheana first. Who knows if that is the case, but that is what she said. And Whitney pulls Shep aside. He's like, did she dump you or what? And Shep's like, yeah, she dumped me, dude. So they're all sitting down at dinner. And Shep says, this is it's a really nice limited menu. It's really nice, though. And he's just staring at Scheana, who's sitting across from him at the table. And Rod is talking maybe to Taylor. So Rod says, I love this time of night when everyone is acting their fakest. And Austin goes, yeah, it's great with that little bitch ass here. They're referring to JT. And Craig's like, hey, by the way, where is JT? And Vanita in a talking head goes, right now I'm just concerned with JT. Like, how is he doing? How is his blood sugar? How is he feeling? Like, fuck this dinner. I'm thinking about my man JT. Scheana says, how was your day today on the boat? And they're like, oh, it's good. It's good. And she's like, there are sharks out there. I'm very happy you got out alive. And Shep goes, hey, Craig, speaking of sharks, I did it, dude. I did it. And I was like, no, Shep, don't. No, no, Shep, are you talking about the necklace? No, don't do this out loud. And so Shep is the one that brings it up. Craig, I gave her the necklace. And Sienna's like, yeah, he got me a necklace. It's a megalodon tooth. And Craig's like, he was very excited to give you that. And Austin goes, that is very nice. Taylor, by the way, watching this whole thing. And Madison speaks up and goes, yeah, Taylor, you have that necklace too, right? And Taylor's like, yeah, is that the same one you got me? And we have a flashback to Shep giving Taylor that necklace. But Shep says, hey, no, don't worry. I'm not a cad. That was not a megalodon. The one I gave you, great white. Okay, so that could you? This really has shades of Lindsay's gender reveal in Summer House, where doing it in front of Carl, her ex-fiance. This is like similar vibes, where you're like, Shep, did you really you want to get her a tooth of some sort, but then you say, okay, well, who's all going to be out there? Oh my God, my ex of 3 years, she's going to be there. Oh, now I'm remembering giving her a great white tooth. Maybe, should I give her like a nice dress instead? Like, why would you do this? And Craig says, the tooth, it's a Charleston classic. And Sienna's like, yeah, a Shep classic. Madison's like, hey, how are you doing, Scheana? He was very emotional earlier. And Sienna's like, well, I said we need to take a step back from things. And, he needs someone who wants to be in the passenger seat of his life. And I'm not in that position where I want to be in the passenger seat of his life. Like, pretty much like, I don't want to be anywhere near any kind of vehicle with his, if we're using that as a metaphor at all. And Shep is like, by the way, like just eavesdropping out in the open. He's just like listening to this whole thing of like, yes, passenger. But by the way, remember when he used to talk about Taylor, when he tried to make her quit her job so he would travel the world with, like, he just wants somebody with him on his grand adventures, right? So Shep butts in and he goes, passenger seat. I don't even have a car. Passenger seat. And then he pauses and goes, no, I do have a car. It's a Buick. It's not very exciting. Like, now he's like bagging on himself. It's such a shitty car. Of course you wouldn't want to be with me. I've got a Buick. A Buick. I'm going to kill myself. So Whitney, producer / troublemaker says, do you see yourself in 3 years settling down? Like, Shep, do you want to live in Charleston part-time and Nassau part-time? And Scheana says, well, we would have to have a relationship first if Shep did that and define that. And we would have to go through steps before Shep did that. And Shep says, it's such a new age thing. Such a new age thing. And Whitney says, well, okay, how do you define your relationship? How do you define your relationship? How is it now? And Scheana goes, right now we aren't in a relationship. We, it's like Kathy Hilton on Beverly Hills this week when she interrupted the fashion show by walking through it when the fashion show was going. It's like, I almost am like, is this true? Like Shep has done some dumb things over the course of his time on Southern Charm, but like, what is happening? So now Shep says some shit, and he's like, "Hey, do you guys want to see me cry? I'll cry. I'll totally cry." And Craig is like, "You have not smiled at all the last 2 days, Shep. You've been stressed out." I love when Craig is like, "I love your beautiful smile, Shep, and I haven't seen it lately." And Shep's like, "I've been melancholy." And Scheana's like, "What happened?" And Craig's like, "He blacked out and slept on the beach." And Shep goes, "That's true. That is true." And Austin says, "What is wrong with you, Craig? What is wrong with you? Why are you saying this?" Austin in a talking head goes, "Shep is allowed to be sad and fall asleep on the beach if he wants to. He is a grown man. But if you ask Craig, he says he's a 45-year-old drunk, and he thinks he will never change." I like that. It's like, I love it. It's like, if Shep wants to be sad and fall asleep in a public area, that is his right as a 45-year-old man, and we need to support him and be proud of him. It is funny when they defend like actions where you're like, yeah, that it's not great no matter what age. You shouldn't just be passing out on a beach chair in the middle of the night. Like you shouldn't, right? But Austin is like, come on, like let him do. But I want to point out where we started at the beginning of this season where, remember Shep was in hot water for getting plastered at BravoCon. And he said he went and did ayahuasca and he changed everything. He didn't go to real therapy, but he did ayahuasca and he sees things differently. He's taking it easy, but all of a sudden that's out the window. And now it's okay that Shep is getting plastered again, even though this was the guy's problems with Shep at the beginning of the season. And Craig is like, "You are the worst version of yourself the last 2 days, Shep." And Shep's like, "That's not fair to say. We've had a lot of nice moments." And Craig's like, "You're torturing yourself with this. Did you tell her you want to be exclusive?" And Shep's like, "I think it's too little too late." And Vanita asks Scheana and goes, "Just right now or like forever?" And Austin's like, "That's not a bad question, Vanita. Why did you tell Shep you loved him and backed out of it twice?" Because that's what Shep says. Is she said, "I love you" back to Shep. And Shep says, "Oh, don't, girl. No, don't answer that question. No. Don't do that to her, you guys." And I'm like, yes, I actually want the answer. Like, did she say she loved you or not? I'm genuinely curious. Whitney, by the way, is just chuckling. He's like, "It's a good episode." Rod in a talking head says, "This is sad. He got played for a fool in front of everyone. One man sad is another man's good entertainment." Shep says, "Hey, let's go take a walk to the beach, Scheana." And Shep's like trying to apologize to Scheana, like, "Oh, these guys, they're crazy. They've been drinking all day, I guess they are making a lot of sense, but I'm going to blame it on booze. They're just asking the tough questions." And Sandra's like, "It's okay as long as you're okay, Shep." And she points out, she goes, "I wanted to save addressing the problem until after this trip, but you insisted we sit down and talk about it." So Shep wanted this on camera. She gave him an opportunity to not do this. Now back to Austin and talking to Craig, and Austin's like, "Craig, you're instigating on you're like this, completely shitting down her throat." And Craig's like, "Every second here, she gives him false hope." Now back to Shep. Shep's like, "Scheana, I wanted to come here and us be madly in love, and we missed it. We missed it by a little window. I don't know how. I don't know why." And now, I love that Shep is romanticizing his failure, romanticizing getting rejected. He's like, "Oh, we were so close. So close." Narrator needed to pop in and go, "They were not close at all. They're not even nearly. We could drive Shep's Buick right through that. They were not even near." He's like, "We were so close. It doesn't even sound like you were in the same ballpark." In a talking head, Shep continues the delusion. He goes, "She's running for cover. She knows the truth. She doesn't want to say it, It's sad to see things break down right in front of you." So Shep is holding true to the fact of she's scared of her emotion. She's scared of how I make her heart feel. She wants to be with me forever like I want to be with her, but she's scared. She won't take that risk. It's like in that great movie about the boat that sinks. If you jump, I jump. Right now, I'm willing to jump. She can't jump. And it makes me sad. I hope she's free one day. My little freckled lip girl. Anyways, Shep says, I just don't want you to be in like the firing line for an hour at that table, Scheana. And Sienna's like, okay, I should probably leave. She's like, okay, cool. And Shep's like, that's probably for the best. And it's not an indication of what I want to happen. Like, I want to live with you forever and I want to die with you, but like, but I like how she's just like, yeah, cool, peace. Okay, can I keep the necklace? Can we bag up any of this food? And all of a sudden, while this is happening, a huge fireworks show like gets set off, and Craig gets really startled by it. He's like, oh! Like it's like Craig just slammed 2 Red Bulls. But this firework display is happening as like he's like, you're saying there's not a chance at all? Craig gets up and goes, Austin sucks. Austin walks up to Scheana and Shep and goes, hey, you guys. Hey, just want you to know, it's really no one else's business. And Shep is like, I thought this was a good idea and I was wrong. You were legitimately the only person that thought this was a good idea. Nobody else thought this was a good idea. Scheana goes, Sienna's just standing there. She's just saying nothing. And then Austin goes to the little bar that's set up for them. He's like, can I get 8 shots of Sambuca? And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. Let's go hard. Go hard or go home. The rest of the gang get from the table and they get set up at these beach chairs over by the ocean. And Shep tells Scheana, he's like, walking her out. He's like, I thought, even though we didn't define it, which I hate, it's like such a millennial thing. By the way, are you a millennial? Like, this is literally what he says. And she goes, I don't know. I don't know. In a talking head, Shep once again goes, you don't find this thing all the time, You have to honor it, and you have to give it a chance. And the subtext of that is like, you don't find people that usually just want this little to do with you. And that is so erotic. Like, what is this lack of feeling that I'm feeling coming from this person? And why does it make me horny as hell? So Shep walks Scheana and goes, bye, see you. And she kind of gives one of those half like pity hugs. Like not even both arms, like tap, tap, tap. It's like, good game, good game, good game. It is so like, you sons of bitches over at Southern Charm, you're going to make me feel bad for Shep. Austin is talking to Craig in the group. Austin goes, I feel bad. And Craig's like, you feel bad for her? And Austin goes, I feel bad for him. His heart is broken. Back to Scheana. She goes, well, don't hate me. And he goes, I love the smell of he I'm not making this up. Because sometimes I'll make up lines instead of the actual lines. This I'm not. He goes, I love the smell of you. I love your musk. He didn't say the musk part, but he says, I love your smell. Oh, I love your musk. I love your smell. I would be like, security, security. But she says, don't hate me. And he goes, how could I ever hate you? I love you. Oh, man. Like, it's just amazing because each time it's like the table really bad. And then he gets up and you're like, okay, he's going to like save this somehow. Not like make her like him, but he's going to get some dignity. And then it's bad over here. And then it's like, okay, we're walking her out. I think the bad part's over with. And then he's like, I love you. I want you to be inside me. We cut to Craig. Craig goes, he's not a fucking idiot. He's 44 years old. She could not be more clear, so she's got to go away. At one point, I thought like Craig was going to club her, like, get out of here. So Shep finally goes to Scheana, goes, see ya. And then he does the sad bop-a-doo walk back. Bop-a-doo, bop-a-dee-dee-dee. Another sad walk from Shep. And then Craig, sitting with the group, he goes, this got to be awful for you, Taylor. It's like a meat grinder, watch him fight for a girl and not for you. It's so brutally honest because it's like all of a sudden he thought of this. He's like, oh, fuck. I forgot. You guys used to do the hippity dippity. You had to, oh, this gotta be shitty for you. That's crazy, huh? You drive me fucking nuts, Craig says. Taylor goes, well, last year maybe, but this isn't my circus anymore, she says, but I'm not in that place anymore. In a talking head, Taylor says, I feel a little bad for Shep, but he's doing it to himself. Everybody has clarity on the situation except for Shep. So Shep now, they're all at the seats around the ocean, but then there's like the dinner table set up. So Shep sadly walks back to the table and he goes, all right, a little lobster. So now he's going to start, feeding the pain. Oh, all right, some conch. All right, a little lobster. All right. Taylor in a talking head says, he did it. He's doing it to himself. And like, it's just pathetic. And Austin's seeing him at the table and he's like, oh no, Shep is by himself eating lobster. Just look at this man. And Madison's like crying into his peas and rice. Madison in a talking head goes, seeing him heartbroken now, he knows what it feels like. And sometimes a lesson is, what needs to be taught. Vanita is the one person of the group to walk over. And she's like, are you sad just here? Sad by yourself? And Shep's like, oh, she was just in the firing line, Vanita. I feel terrible about this whole thing. And Vanita's like, well, we are your friends first, Shep. Back to Craig. Craig says, well, it's like he ruined a dinner by bringing a fake girlfriend, which I told him not to do. So Craig has zero sympathy. He's like, it's his fault, dude. He ruined a nice dinner by bringing a fake girlfriend. And Austin says, I have had it with Craig. Back to Vanita, to Shep. Vanita goes, but she's not giving you what you want. But she is giving you what you do to other women. Whoa, bingo. Vanita nails it. And Shep's like, maybe. Shep's like, get the fuck away from me. He goes, maybe. But then he goes, listen, I'm here to be real and raw. I never want to hear Shep say raw. I'm here to be real and raw. And like, I'm going to lean on you, Vanita. And that's like what friendship is. The great Bob Marley once said, true friends are like stars. They're only evident when it's dark. And it's dark. And you are all here. Thank you for being a star. For being a superstar. It's like the great band Smash Mouth once said, hey now, you're an all-star. Get your game on, go. And you guys are watching me trying to get my game on, and Scheana's saying go, and you're saying, hey now, you're a rock star. Thank you. Shep goes up to the bar, and he's like, hey, hey, let's get a drink. And he's just like this little bar that's set up for this dinner. And just normal workers working this bar. And they're like, hey, how you doing, man? And Shep goes, terrible. Thank you for asking. Well, this girl, Scheana, she was Miss Bahamas, and, we had like a thing and it was cool. You know how it is. And then likely like what happened is like she got scared, but it's cool, bro. But it's just like it's happening in real time. And they're legitimately like, do you want like a lime with it? I mean, they're just like, yeah, okay. Just try not to break any glass on the beach. So this is Craig. Craig is like wound up now. And he goes, I said all of this would happen. If you take her to dinner, you'd fuck the whole thing up. And Austin's like, Jesus, man. Craig goes, Austin, I know you love me, but do you have a hard time not hating me? And Austin's like, ha 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 ha. Because Austin just genuinely thinks like, oh my God, you nailed it, Craig. I do have a hard time hating you. And Craig is like, sometimes you look at me, Austin, and I say, this guy hates me. And Austin goes, I have the same thought about you, Craig. This motherfucker hates me. And Madison in the talking head goes, Craig and Austin need to clear the air if they want to mend this. These two need to kiss and make up because I am sick of it. Craig says, Austin, tell me what I do that makes you so mad. And Austin goes, I mean, I'll turn it right around back on you. Like you like exaggerate. And Craig's like, I exaggerate? And Austin's like, yeah, you are an embellisher, Craig. And you know this. And Craig gives the line of the week. And he goes, I'm a lawyer. I'm a lawyer and a storyteller. Do those two go hand in hand? I got into law because I have a passion for storytelling. Because I'm a lawyer and a storyteller. And by the way, I want to make the meme so bad of Craig and his law pose, because he had the Conover law firm. Don't get run over, call Conover, which no longer exists. But he has those lawyer shots. And I would love to make a meme that says, I'm a lawyer and a storyteller. But I don't want Craig to block me again. So I don't know. Maybe you guys can make that meme. But Craig's like, are you like talking about my self-improvement? And Austin's like, I'm over it. And Austin walks away. He goes, I'm fucking over it, dude. Craig gets up and he goes like chases down Austin. He's like, Austin, let's finish the conversation. We see now like Vanita and this guy Ryan, who's been there all season, who barely really says anything any episodes. He's just kind of there. And we see that Vanita is getting tons of texts from JT, like paragraphs, I guess. And Ryan says, are those long messages from JT? And she's like, yeah. And he goes, well, I'm not reading them. I'm just seeing a bunch of, just seeing a bunch of text messages. And Molly's sitting next to Vanita. Molly goes, wait, does he have feelings for you? And you feel the same? And Vanita's like, yeah. In a talking head, Vanita says, after last night, I know the feeling I have for JT, that he has that same feeling for me. There's no doubt. There is no doubt, Vanita says. If JT does have a girlfriend in this moment, I feel bad for that girl on the other side because he is spending all this time texting and talking to me and giving her crumbs. So this was her talking head. Now Craig sits with Austin. Now this is the big scene, you guys. This is a very emotional scene. If any of you are theater students out there, you could use this for a duo scene in some sort of speech competition. If I could do high school all over again, I potentially would choose this scene. So Craig sits with Austin and he's like, Austin, listen, you're one of my best friends. I was never trying to better myself to get away from other people. I didn't think it would change the level of our friendship. I want to get back to a place of love. I mean, by the way, this is more of a realistic conversation of an actual relationship than Shep and Scheana. And Austin goes, if we are being honest, I feel the disconnect is from this like wonderful image you've created for yourself. And Craig's like, an image? Yeah, you are terrified, Craig, of like disappointing someone or something now to maintain this. Like, I need to sit at my house and like, I can't be seen with a beer in my hand. And Craig's like, do you think I project an image and that's not me? And Austin's like, I do. And also you can tell these guys are both really tipsy. And he goes, yeah, Craig doesn't want to hang because he's got an image to protect. Like, it's like you're drunk on like being a nice guy. And we cut to clips of Craig talking about his pillows and he's like cheese boards, pillows. And so we see this image of Craig, which by the way, this is to me a very this is somebody I don't consider this false. I consider this somebody trying to do a business, right? Austin goes, I just want you to loosen the reins a little bit. And Craig's like, I can't because I don't have any leash on myself, Austin. I'm an addict. So this is the second time this week we're talking about an addict, the first time being Jax Taylor. And Craig says, listen, I was trying not to be an alcoholic is now affecting my relationship with Austin. And that's where I was coming from, you know? And he starts tearing up and he goes, I have tears in my eyes because it's real. I was in the trenches. I was trying to better my life. And you're like never with me anymore. And I was like, I can't, I have to stay on my couch. And if I leave my couch, I will drink a bottle of Jaeger and do dumb shit. And Austin is blown away by this. And he's like, the word addict, you never said that with me. And Craig is like, I never said it out loud until watching Shep. And then we have a shot of Shep coming up to the rest of the gang, not Austin and Craig. But, you know, it's like, just like, hey, look at that bozo. That's it. I saw him and I'm like, addict. But this is actually a really, I thought, emotional conversation. And at times, if you can separate, you know, your feelings about men, I think this was actually a very productive conversation. It is a little silly that they are both drunk having this conversation about drinking and drugs, but I still thought it was effective. And Greg's like, watching Shep wake up on the beach, this is why I don't do it anymore. I'm really lucky I got out of it, but that's why I can't, that's why I comment on Shep. You know, he's not out of it. And Austin goes, I should have known with the Adderall thing that you were struggling. Remember, Craig had issues with Adderall. He talks about it in his book. He's talked about it in interviews. And we have a flashback of like one scene where Craig said he'd been up for 3 days, and another one at the reunion when Cameron, who I miss, says, dude, you were addicted to Adderall. And when you abuse it, it's a recipe for disaster. Austin goes, I'm sorry, man. I didn't understand what you were going through. And you and Paige, you know, you're strong as hell. And it's like, you're fine with the distance. You're not sitting at your house, like battling or nothing, you know, or no. But he's saying like, you and Paige are very strong, which was kind of sad in that moment. And Craig is like, Paige was right there with me this entire time. There is a reason we are so close. I could not imagine being closer to someone. I am so lucky she chose me. I see someone there and she helped me beat this demon. The Shep demon. And in moments like this, it almost gets me. I'm like, oh my God, I hope she sees this and they get back together because I'm an idiot. But I thought this was sadly sweet. We get a flashback to Winter House of Craig being a literal demon and Paige trying to get him to shut up. And even a scene of Kyle going, get your boyfriend get your boyfriend on a fucking chain. He's batshit crazy, which is wild when Kyle says that about somebody. Craig tells Austin, it's been a battle. I should have said something. The image I was trying to portray, yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to convince other people. I'm not trying to become that. Like, that's me. Like, I totally got this too. He's like, I'm not trying to portray that. I really am trying to become that. I'm not trying to act that. That's who I want to be. And Austin goes, I really appreciate you open up to me about that. And Craig says, maybe it makes more sense now. Austin in a talking head says, Craig's addiction doesn't excuse him from being an asshole or being an angry fucking person, but it is a starting point. And it's not what I expected him to say. Craig says, Austin, I'm sorry. You know, I'm sorry you thought I didn't like you. Austin says, I have to give Craig grace for being open and vulnerable. And Austin's like, Craig, you should have told me. And then Craig's like, I love you, man. I'm sorry it affected our time. So like, I could be better. And Austin now is like fully crying. Like he's really, you could just tell how much this relationship with Craig means to him. Or at least that's the feeling I got from this scene. And Craig is like, okay, well, this is between us. No one else. Just me and you and all of these cameras and the people that watch Southern Charm. And Craig goes, I wasn't in a great spot, man. I wasn't in a great spot. Craig in a talking head goes, man, it feels good to be transparent. If only we did this earlier, you know? And then he tells Austin, let's find our new quality time. We never talked like that, and that's our fault. Like, we're all fighting our battles, you know? And then at the other like group of people, they're like, is Austin crying? And Madison's like, of course he is, pussy. Shep says to the gang, and he's looking at like them hugging Austin and Craig, and he goes, I wish this happened with me and Scheana. Austin tells Craig, he's like, hey, Craig, this doesn't mean I don't think you're a bitch. Men, we always ruin it with like hey, I'm still tough. You're a little pussy bitch. Okay, so that's it. I thought that was a great scene. And by the way, this almost felt like a finale episode to me, and it isn't. The next morning, it's breakfast. It's our last morning here in the, in the Bahamas. And Craig, he has hired flamingos for the breakfast just to walk around while you're eating your eggs. You know, how you do. And everybody's excited about the flamingos. They're taking pictures with the flamingos. Madison's a little creeped out by the flamingos. And they're eating, and, Craig's like, yeah, everything's good, Madison. I'll tell you more about it later. Madison's like, the podcast is coming back, which once again, Craig and Austin, you should announce the podcast coming back this week. Pillows and Beer Nation. Shep lets us know he's going to Cuba. He's like, I got to get the fuck out of here. I hear there's really good shark necklaces in Cuba. Ryan says, so how do you feel after this whole thing? And Shep's like, I feel free. I do. I feel great. I feel free, It's more cons looking back than I remember in that moment. But it means the world to me that you were all here to watch my humiliation. It really, really does. In a talking head, he goes, missed opportunities are sometimes great opportunities. Everything happens exactly as it should. I believe that. And then he cheers everybody. And Rod says, I would not travel internationally to watch anybody else get broken up with but you. And then we all laugh. Ho, ho, ho! It's like the end of like Family Ties. Next time on Southern Charm, we get a test results from Brett, Madison's husband, about his cancer battle. We see that Paige is in this episode. We see Leva having a conversation with JT going, Ryan's barber said that you said, and we see JT say, that is absolutely bullshit. And that is the end of Southern Charm. What an episode it was. You guys, back to back, Summer House and Southern Charm, Bapa-doo, Bapa-dee-dee-dee. Have the best weekend ever. Come back for the Traders recap. And I'm going to go watch the Traders reunion right now. So wish me luck. Bye, guys.